The private dining room at the Fairmont San Francisco was grand, yet somehow suffocating. My father's 65th birthday was in full swing, champagne flowing, laughter echoing as guests toasted to his decades in finance. I sat at the far end of the table, silent, pushing grilled halibut around my plate, trying to disappear into the linen-draped background. "And here's to my son Nathan," Dad announced proudly, raising his glass, now a senior partner at Westbridge Capital, just like his old man. My brother rose, soaking in the applause. His Rolex glinted under the chandelier. His navy suit looked tailored by the gods. Nathan always had the pedigree. Wharton grad, elite internships, the Ivy League wife. "Thanks, Dad," he smiled. "Learned from the best." I sipped my wine, recalling the countless times I heard, "Why can't you be more like Nathan?" Choosing robotics over finance, building my own tech lab instead of joining Dad's firm, investing in silent innovation instead of status symbols. "And then there's Zoe," my mother chimed in, with that same brittle smile. "Still doing those gadgets, right, dear?" "Advanced robotics and neuro-AI interfaces," I answered calmly. "Our last project improved autonomous surgical systems." Yes, Dad waved dismissively. "Still tinkering with machines. At least Nathan chose a real profession." The old sting burned, but I kept my composure. They had no idea that my tinkering was powering next-gen medical breakthroughs across 5 continents, or that the garage they mocked had expanded into a 300,000 SQFT R&D facility outside Palo Alto. "Did you see Nathan's Aspen estate?" Mom gushed. 12 acres, ski and access. "It's modest," Nathan shrugged. "Zoe, you should visit sometime, when we're not using it." I glanced down, thinking of my residencies. Kyoto, the Swiss Alps, an AI-secured retreat in New Zealand, all hidden under shell companies and intellectual property trusts. "A toast," Uncle Greg stood, "to David Bennett, father of a financial legend." "And to Zoe," Aunt Linda added half-heartedly. "She's doing something." I just smiled. They'd find out soon enough. I watched There it was again, that slight grimace he always got when someone mentioned me, like my very existence was a blemish he had to politely ignore. He adjusted his cufflinks and cleared his throat. "Well," he said loudly, "at least one of my children isn't a disappointment." The room froze. Then, awkward laughter. Nathan understood what it means to build a real career, to create a legacy. He's made the Bennett name mean something in the financial world. The silence that followed was heavy. Even by his standards, this was brutal. "David," my mother murmured, setting down her fork. "Maybe that's a bit much." "No, Camille, it needs to be said." He turned to me, eyes hard. "Zoe, you had every advantage. The best education, endless support. And what do you do with it? Playing startup founder in some warehouse near Soma." He leaned forward, voice firm. "People ask me what went wrong with my daughter." I set my wine glass down, crystal tapping gently against the tablecloth. "What went wrong?" I echoed. My voice wasn't loud, but it was sharp enough to cut the hush. "Yes, Zoe. While your brother is acquiring firms and making headlines, you're still, what, writing code in a garage?" I thought of the contract waiting on my desk, the neural architecture breakthrough we just finalized, the global healthcare partnership we were about to announce, the 3 buyout offers I'd declined this quarter alone, each one over $500 million, 0 cents. "Nathan," my mother said gently, "say something." "She's doing fine," Nathan offered with a faint smile. "At least she's independent." "Independent?" my father scoffed. "Is that what we're calling failure now?" He pointed his glass at me. "At 36, your brother was already managing over $1 billion in assets. You? You're 36 with nothing to show but some tech fantasy. You're not Steve Jobs, Zoe." I looked around. The same familiar faces, smug and shallow, smugly toasting Nathan while sneering at me in silence. My fingers drifted to my phone. I'd kept my success quiet for a reason, but tonight felt different. You want to talk about legacy, Dad? I stood, calm, clear. You want to talk about the Bennett name? Zoe, my mother whispered. Please don't. It's his birthday, right? I turned my screen to face the table. Let's give him a gift. On display, my primary business account. Balance: $47,282,465.19. One account. A fork dropped. Someone gasped. What is this? My father said hoarsely. I swiped to another screen. Bennett Neural Systems. Our latest valuation sits at $4,300,000,000. You might know the company better as BNS Group. We're behind the autonomous systems you saw featured in Forbes last month. Nathan's expression cracked. And Fonez? You own BNS? I built BNS. He blinked. You're the one who turned down Amazon's acquisition? They lowballed me. I pulled up the offers. Amazon, Meta, Samsung. All rejected. I have bigger plans. You're lying, my father muttered. I tapped into public filings. See for yourself. Though you won't find my name easily. I value privacy, which let me build an empire while you all laughed at my coding hobby. My mother sat in stunned silence. Nathan was frantically scrolling his phone under the table. The warehouse you mock? It's the front. Our real HQ is 3 floors of the Crosswind building downtown. Nathan paled. We've been trying to lease space there. You'll need to speak to the owner, I said evenly. That's me. The silence was total now. Not a sip, not a breath. But why didn't you ever say anything? My mother whispered. I looked her in the eyes. Because none of you ever asked. I turned to my father. You wanted to talk about legacy? In Silicon Valley, the Bennett name means something, just not because of you. And with that, I sat back down, picked up my wine, and took a long, slow sip. She looked at me differently now. For the first time in years, my sister wasn't seeing her awkward little sibling. She was reassessing the woman sitting across from her, the one she never really knew. Among other things, I said, settling back into my chair, our healthcare division is scaling fast. We're transforming diagnostic AI in ways that could save millions of lives. My father still hadn't recovered. His mouth opened slightly, then closed. The Sterling Tower, he managed. That's a $300 million 0-cents property. Was, I corrected. It's worth considerably more now after the upgrades. Would you like to see the deed? My mother's hostess instincts finally kicked in. She reached across the table, her diamond bracelet flashing under the chandelier. Darling, this is wonderful. But why didn't you tell us? We could have helped, made introductions. I gently pulled my hand away. Introductions? Like when you told the Hamiltons I was wasting their time? Or when Dad advised his clients to steer clear of my hobby? Her face drained of color. She remembered. 3 years ago, the Hamiltons had been ready to invest. My parents convinced them. I was a bad bet. We were trying to protect them, Dad said stiffly, and protect you from failure. Protect them? I laughed, quiet and bitter. Those who did invest saw their money grow 800% in 18 months. The Hamiltons tried to buy back in recently. I shrugged. I'd decline. Ella Uncle Greg, who'd barely acknowledged me all evening, leaned forward, suddenly intrigued. Zoe, my son's launching a crypto-based tech startup. I was wondering. No, I said, calm, firm. I'm not entertaining pitches from family. Not anymore. But we're family, Nathan protested, his voice rising slightly. That has to count for something. Does it? I turned to him, remembering the sabotage. Like when you convinced your firm not to consider my proposal? Told them my software lacked structure right before our system was adopted by their competitors? He paled. I didn't know. No, I said quietly. You didn't. None of you did. Because you never cared to ask. I stood, dropping my napkin. You were all so sure you knew what success looked like. The corner office, the ski home, the Ivy League connections. You never imagined that something revolutionary could be built by the black sheep in silence. Sit down, my father snapped, his voice regaining force. We need to discuss this. As a family. Your company, these opportunities. Opportunities? I raised an eyebrow. Now that you know I'm worth billions, suddenly my computer thing is worth talking about? Don't be difficult, my mother said hastily. Your father's just trying to understand. We all are, it's a lot. I scanned their faces. Uncles, aunts, cousins, people who spent years pitying me, mocking me. Now they stared as if I were a vault cracked open, eyes glinting not with pride, but calculation. Know what's funny? I said, reaching for my purse. I used to dream about this moment, proving you wrong, showing you what I built. I paused, but standing here now, I realized something. Your approval stopped mattering to me years ago. Zoe, wait, Nathan said, rising. There may be synergy between your tech and some of our firms. Synergy? I laughed. Now you want synergy? What happened to my amateur garage hobby? My father shoved his chair back. Enough. I won't have you ruin my birthday with this spectacle. If I've built something worthwhile, fine, he said stiffly. But your attitude... My attitude? I snapped. Like your attitude when you called me a failure in front of the entire family? Or when you couldn't even visit my office once in 7 years? He fell silent. And in that silence, I saw it. For the first time in my life, my father didn't know he was right. I pulled an envelope from my purse and placed it on the table. Happy birthday, Dad. He eyed it warily. What is this? Something interesting. I leaned in slightly. The deed to your law firm's building. His eyes widened. S&P ECKG Group bought it last month through a shell subsidiary. Consider this your notice. Your rent doubles next quarter. Market rates, I added with a smile. You understand. Chaos erupted. My mother gasped audibly. Nathan was frantically Googling. My father just stared at the envelope, as if it might explode. You can't do this, he whispered. But I already had. If you want to see what Zoe does next, and how power, legacy, and revenge truly unfold, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the moment everything changes again. He finally found his voice. You can't actually do this. I tilted my head, calm and steady. Actually, I can. It's called good business sense. Isn't that what you always taught me? I gave him a smile. Not cruel, just clear. Don't worry, I'm not being vindictive. You're welcome to stay at the new rate. Or, feel free to move to another building in the city. I paused, letting the weight of the moment settle. Though you might want to check who owns those first. I turned to go, but Nathan reached out and caught my arm. Wait. At least let me take you to lunch next week. Just the two of us. Talk, sister to brother. I gently pulled my arm free. I'm afraid I'm busy. I'll be finalizing the acquisition of your firm's biggest client. His face went white. You mean the same client you convinced to reject my software proposal? Don't worry, I added softly. I'm sure your partners will understand. After all, it's just business. Zoe, my mother called out as I reached the door. What do you want from us? I paused. For years, I would have had an answer. Validation, respect, something resembling love. But now, nothing, I said. That's the beauty of success. It shows you what matters and what doesn't. Oh! As I walked out of the private dining room, the noise erupted behind me. Voices raised, chairs shifting. My phone buzzed. First Nathan, then Mom, then a flood of messages from relatives suddenly interested in my life. I stepped into my waiting car. The office, please, I told James, my driver. He glanced at me in the mirror. Everything all right, Miss Bennett? Better than all right, I said. I just gave my father his birthday gift, the truth. Back at my true office, the top floor of Sterling Tower, I sank into my leather chair. My phone lit up again. Mom, please call. Nathan, let me explain. Dad, call me immediately. I had to weep them all. I had better things to do. My team had just sent the latest acquisition briefs. BNS Group was weeks away from announcing a breakthrough in predictive neural AI. My net worth was about to double. Then, a knock at the door. Sarah stepped in. "Your brother Nathan is in the lobby. Says he won't leave until you see him." I glanced at the security feed on my monitor. There she was, Emma. Still in the same designer dress from the dinner, but now visibly unraveling. Her poise had slipped, her confidence cracked. She looked like someone clinging to a version of the world that no longer existed. "Tell her my schedule is full," I said to Sarah, not even looking up from my screen. "But she's welcome to book an appointment, through official channels, of course." Sarah nodded and stepped out. I watched as Emma received the message in the lobby. Her shoulders stiffened, and I saw the exact moment she realized this wasn't going to be one of those conversations where charm and old ties would work. Her face hardened, then she turned and left. I leaned back and looked out over San Francisco's skyline. Lights glittered like ambition realized. For years, I let their narrow, outdated definition of success diminish me. Ivy League degrees, law partnerships, applause at the dinner table. But I'd been chasing the wrong prize. Success isn't about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. I picked up my phone one last time and typed out a single group message. "Thank you for teaching me that failure is subjective. Turns out, so is success. Rest assured. The rent hike? Strictly business. Just like you always preached. Oh, and Emma, your firm's former client, sends their regards. They're thrilled to implement BNS Group's legal AI platform through your competitors." I hit send. Then I turned off my phone and slid it into a drawer. There were acquisition briefs to review, international rollouts to plan. My attention returned to the glowing proposal on my desk. Empires aren't built on family validation. They're built by those willing to be underestimated. And I've been underestimated for the very last time. If you've made it this far, thank you, truly. I'm not here to play the victim or ask for sympathy. I'm here to remind you that sometimes the best revenge isn't loud. It's not about shouting your success. It's about becoming so undeniably excellent that even your silence echoes. So if you felt even a spark of something while watching my story, drop a comment below. Tell me if you've ever been underestimated by the people who were supposed to believe in you most. Or maybe you're still building quietly like I once was. If that's you, I see you, and I promise your time will come. And if you're ready to walk with me through more stories like this, stories of quiet strength, of long overdue recognition, of power finally reclaimed, then hit that subscribe button. This journey isn't just mine anymore. It belongs to everyone who's ever been called a failure before proving they were the future. Here's what I learned. Validation from others is optional, but belief in yourself? Non-negotiable. So take the risk. Bet on yourself. Build your empire in silence. Then let the results speak so loud, no one dares question you again.